Hello, everyone. I am Renata from the E Spot, here today with Gustaph from Belgium. Hello, Gustaph.
Hi, hello. How are you, Renata? How are you?
Oh, excellent. I'm so excited to have this conversation. I have so many questions to ask you. First off, I have to say that I love your song.
Oh,
Um,
thank
the
you so much.
the first time that I heard it, it reminded me, it gave me that same feeling in my heart as one of my favorite songs ever, which is Relax by Crystal Waters. I don't know
Ah,
if you know this song.
yeah, Crystal Waters, of course. Yes, yes, yes.
I was like, oh my gosh, it's almost like it's the same vibe. It's that same uplifting feeling, and it really feels very nostalgic to me.
Yes.
And I just love it. It hits on all the things that I kind of grew up on. And so I
Yeah.
just want to know, when you were writing the song, what were your influences? What were you listening to? What inspired you to put this song together in the style that you chose to make it in?
Great question and great reference because it really is inspired by that era of music. Crystal Waters is definitely one of them. So I wrote the song with a fellow queer artist called Jawat Alul, and we were writing songs together because we were touring last year together. We were doing like DJ gigs, and we wanted to incorporate some self-written songs as well in the gigs. And we were listening to the music that I was playing as a DJ, which was a lot of early '90s, late '80s house music, ranging from underground to very commercial stuff. And yeah, that was very informative into how we wrote the song. We really wanted it to be something of that era. I even went and looked for the right sounds that came from those early '90s synths and stuff, so it would sound authentic in that way. I wanted to create something that was retro, but still had its feet in the now. Like I didn't want it to be just only retro, but because that sound is so iconic, it like the same with you. It takes you right back to where that music was being made because that's the kind of type of sounds they were using. All of those artists, like the piano sound that you hear in the beginning of the song, is that piano they all used for those piano house tracks. And I really wanted to be very respectful of that era by using the right synths and all that kind of stuff because it really was an ode to that era because I think when house music really took off, late '80s, early '90s, I was a bit too young to party because I was only 9, 10, 11 years old. But I just remember seeing a lot of those songs on MTV. You know, this was the era of the music video. So I was really, as a child, mesmerized because it was so celebratory, and I think as a young gay boy, I already resonated with that kind of music that was really being played actually in the gay clubs. So I think there was a love affair that just started there and that never ended for me in that sense. So and then for the lyrics, we wanted to write something that was definitely about our story as queer people and wanted it to be about self empowerment and self celebration in that sense and thanking the people who brought you there. You know, that was the lyric idea behind it.
Well, I think you nailed it on a whole package, even on a visual level. It all just works and it is nostalgic, but it does feel really fresh. So
Oh,
congratulations on such a
thank
wonderful
you.
piece of music. Um, Also regarding music, I have a question. Just why do you sing in English? Because you're from Belgium, so I'm
Yes.
assuming you also speak Dutch and French.
Yes, correct.
But you choose to sing in English. So can you just talk about that decision?
Sure. It's a very good question, actually, because especially now that I'm participating in the Eurovision Song Contest itself, there are so many countries that choose to sing in their own language. And it's something that honestly it's as I hope it doesn't sound horrible, but it's like something that wasn't on my radar in the sense of I've never written in Dutch nor in French. Could be very interesting actually to do that, but I've never had that referential experience. And I think as artists in Belgium, and I think through my work with bands like Hercules and Love Affair, which was an international queer collective, I've always been used to writing in English. And it's just something that just is natural to me. And I think like a lot of my friends are American and or English. So it's a language that I do think I have an affinity with. And it just is the most natural way for me to write and sing, in all
Mhm.
honesty.
So it's just being authentic to you and your artistry. I think that's great.
Yes. Yes.
Um, so you brought up Eurovision, and this, of course, is not your first time at Eurovision. You do have
No.
experience here as a background singer twice.
Yes.
So as far as your experience this time around, is there anything you can say that feels different now that you are the main artist and not part of the supporting act?
Yes, it's different, of course, in the most, how to say, the easiest thing to say would be I'm the center now and I'm not a backing vocalist. But I think it runs a bit deeper than that because what I like now is that I wouldn't have done this if I didn't have the experience that I had by being a backing vocalist and also by seeing how the competition works, how rehearsal schedules work, how how the whole build up towards the performance works. Because the great thing now is I get to delegate my vision onto other people, and I have the luxury, honestly, to work with people that I love and adore around me, and that makes for a very exciting atmosphere because when you're a delegation, I love the idea of being a team because there's someone for PR, there's someone for makeup, there's someone for styling, there's someone who's head of delegation, there's the artists, there's the musicians, and you all have to work together for weeks or months, and you have to aim for the same goal, and you have to make sure you get a good result. I found that very beautiful, and because it wasn't like we're gonna win. It was more like we're let's do this together. Let's be a team on this. And the most beautiful thing about and the difference could be that it's not really a difference. I think it's just the next level for me that I get to do this now with people who are professionals, but they're my friends as well. And I think that creates a very safe environment for me because I do have times when I'm a bit insecure or a bit anxious, and to have that kind of support system around me of people that I truly trust, and I've been trusting them for over 20 years sometimes, is an amazing experience for me. So for me, this is like a next level Eurovision experience because of that.
Right. And of course, it's not just Eurovision itself. There's also the pre-parties, which you've been participating in. And
Yes.
I'd like to hear more about that. But I'm also glad that you brought up support systems because
Yeah.
specifically with regards to the pre-parties, I worry sometimes actually about the artists and the level of intensity, not just physically with all of the performing and the traveling, but also sometimes responses that people get for their performances on social media. So I guess I
Right.
am curious about I guess it's sort of two parts, but just the experience in general doing those pre-parties as an artist leading up to Eurovision. And do people at least feel supportive with each other within the group, that they're not alone in this intense experience?
Yes, I have to say for me, it was up to now a very positive experience because of course, I think everyone heard about some people were shouting some stuff against Ireland. Someone said someone shouted something about Shireen at my performance, but honestly, I didn't hear that. Just so for me, it's like almost like, is this actually true? Because it started to have a whole life on Twitter, this kind of story. So for me, it was a different experience because I remember coming on stage in Barcelona and really hearing people cheering me on, basically in that sense. So for me, I have to say, apart from maybe that sort of like side noise, everything was actually very, very much a fun experience. And I have to say that, especially Madrid, Barcelona was fine, but Madrid was just for some reason there was electricity in the air that night, and it's really I really did one of the most authentic, natural performances of Because of You ever because it was such an accepting crowd. I performed without any fear. It was just like let's just go in because they're here on my side. So I have to say for me, it's a very beautiful experience, and I love that I get to talk to same talking to you, but over there as well, I get to talk to fans of the contest. And I'm a fan myself, so it's a very beautiful experience to exchange memories and exchange experiences with everyone there. And when you talk about camaraderie within the artists, that's something that I really am surprised by how quickly that happened. Because I only saw these people the second time around in Madrid, because I only met them in Barcelona for the first time. And already, we talk with a sort of like a level of intimacy that is quite unique in such a fast way, I have to say. And I guess it's a bit, you're going through the same experience, so there's a tendency to lean on each other because you're going through the same thing. So for me, the pre-parties have been a very beautiful experience in that sense.
Oh, that's great. That's great to hear. And I have a bit of a serious question. It's not exactly related to Eurovision, but it is related to what you brought up about being a young gay man in the 90s. And so you were kind of part of that generation where LGBTQ rights were really on the rise.
Mhm.
And now we're entering this kind of new age of hostility towards LGBTQ people,
Mhm.
especially in my country, for example, the United States. They're having
Mhm.
bans on drag, pride
Mhm.
events, and I just want to know, what is your message to young LGBTQ people who, instead of seeing the extension of their rights, are now seeing an erosion of their rights? What would you say to them to keep them positive for the future?
Well, it's first I want to say that I think it's absolutely tragic what's happening in the US, and I think there's so much joy and so much love that comes from the art form of drag, and it's really it's an evidence of darker times when people want to exterminate such a beautiful, lovely thing as drag culture, and the fact that they're using drag to, but that's, I don't want to get too political, but it's obvious, it's they're trying to create a distraction. It's so obvious, and they're using these forms of expression as an excuse, and I find that horrendous. I find that awful. So what I can tell youngsters out there in America, without even having the audacity to think that I know what it's like to live in America as an LGBTQIA person right now, but I will tell you what I know for sure, because I know that for a fact from myself and my friends who are a bit older, but who have gone through some shit as well. We are resilient people. We are very strong-minded individuals, because we've created all this by the force of knowing we want to create a community for ourselves. And the other thing is, Because of You is about this. I'm getting emotional talking about this. Oh my God. Because of You is written for me personally, from the idea of your personal tribe. And we as a people have been doing that for decades, for even centuries, I'm sure. We take care of each other because no one took care of us. So we have a generational tradition in taking care of each other. And this means that we're very strong. That makes us so strong, and they will never be able to take that away from us. And it may be dark times now, but because of that tradition, and because we have shoulder on shoulder on shoulder of generation who have done this, we will get through this for sure. And just have faith, because I know this is darker times, but I am so sure of our resilience and how they can't stand us, and we will get through this for sure.
Thank you so much for that wonderful message, Gustaph. Thank you for your beautiful song, and thank you for speaking with me today. I wish you the best of luck, bon chance, success in
So
Eurovision.
sweet. Aww.
And I hope that I get to maybe meet you at some point, because I will also be in Liverpool.
Oh, lovely. That would be great. That would be great. Oh, and thank you actually for letting me talk about this, because I think this is very important to talk about. And you really gave me a chance to express some of my emotions. That's why I got emotional. So thank you for creating that space for me.
Thank you so much, Gustaph. You have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too.